Not the famous, not the famous cork, I hope.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, guys, we can get started here. Everybody probably might know who Emmett is. If not, he is the head coach at Marquette University High School in Milwaukee, co-owner, I believe, of Top Center Lacrosse Club, if you do summer ball or fall ball. And then he's also the current president of the Wisconsin Boys Lacrosse Coaches Association. So we're glad that you're here, Emmett, and thank you for doing this tonight. And I'll make you the host here.
Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen. Don, how do I share my screen in order to, is it just that green button at the bottom?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So Don, thanks for the introduction. Again, this is Emmett O'Malley, head coach at Marquette High University. I'll start sharing my screen now, so just give me 1 second. Safari. Hold on, Don, I'm having some technical difficulties. Don, do you have any idea how I share my screen? It's like it's straight up just not letting me right now for some reason. Like I'm clicking on like share entire
Let me
screen.
see, sharing it. Let me go to the Zoom settings. Maybe sharing's not on there.
It says open system settings and everything's just blocked off for some reason. Weird.
Let's see. Steve, do you have any idea? Question for this meeting. All right. Trying to see if I can find it here in the on our Zoom page.
Okay. Let me try one more thing. Not sure why this is not working. Don, it's gonna have me leave the meeting. Just give me 1 second because I have to switch some setting on my system.
Okay.
Give me like a minute. I'll be back on.
Okay. No problem. Thanks, Emmett.
Well, while we're waiting for Emmett, some people have some blocks in on this Wednesday. I need one official to go out to Economwalk and cover a doubleheader because, of course, Jameson, got the bid, so I had to move some people around. I need one person out in Economwalk on Wednesday night.
I can do it, Randy.
Can you?
Yep.
It is yours, my friend.
All right. I'll unblock.
All right. It'll be coming at you. Thank you, sir.
I was gonna say I could go there if it means I don't have to work with O'Dwyer again.
No, you're already assigned.
That's what I mean.
Don didn't get his block up in time.
I'd assign him a tail, but he's still got that, that hangnail that's holding him up.
Well, I got the one side fixed, and now another nail's kind of coming in, so I don't want to hurt myself too bad being on the field.
It's already coming at you.
All
Max,
right.
thanks.
Emmett is
got it.
back. Excellent.
All right. Can you all see the arrowhead in the background? Arrowhead Marquette.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'll get started. Thanks for everyone's patience. I'm not sure what was going on there, but just a quick little recap. Don was talking about subbing through the midfield. So we have been subbing through the midfield for the past couple of years. Rich and Adam have always done it. I just kind of took over the previous two head coaches on that. I'll kind of explain as we go. I'll stop a couple times, but um, we had Mike Hoffman and Mark Howard yesterday ref in our game, and it was a little bit confusing because the 50-yard line is not painted at Arrowhead, so it's sometimes a little bit harder for refs to pick up on like who's onside technically. Okay, Randy, Don, if I miss say anything, please stop me because I don't know the rules as definite as you guys, but just if you can give me a quick little helper if I do.
Well, here, before we go any further, any clips that anyone sees in any of this stuff is not to embarrass the officials who were on the call. It's for training purposes only. Trust me, we all could have clips, probably a dozen a piece of things we just didn't get right. So this is not to embarrass anybody. So
100%. It's again, this is a difficult call to make because there's so many things going on at once. One, and two, it's like the the referee's responsibility just to count, and it's so difficult at real time. Even running the box is near impossible, but for the refs, it's just so difficult to do. But I'll roll the play and roll the clip and go through it pretty slowly. So we collapse. LSM picks up the ball. I'm freezing it here to use my cursor. We have a set pull. I believe it's this one or this one. This pull always gets off. Okay. So I'll roll the clip. You could see in the background we have all three. We're subbing three right now. Okay. So we have 1, 2. I can't really see on my screen. 1, 2, 3. We got 3 attackmen. First offensive midi is subbed on. Pull is going back. So we only have 5 over at this point. Okay. Now I pause it. We have the 3 attackmen, 1, 2, 3. Fourth guy would be the offensive midi. Fifth guy would be the second offensive midi. And again, we sub on this side because we already have a pull in the box. I'm circling him right now. So it's legal to do. So this guy, we only have three back to 1 goalie, 2 pulls. And we're waiting for that. We're waiting for the pull to cross over. And now he looks backwards to make sure that we have enough back. And now he's like, okay, I'm good. He kind of does a full 360 at this point. And then again, we only had 3 attack, and then this would be the last midfielder stepping on at this point. They just transferred it, if you want to say that. So Mike and I got a disagreement, and again, this is a very hard call to make. I just said, hey, could you count? Like not sarcastically at all, like, hey, just count how many people we have on the field, because this now pull steps back on to make sure that we have all defensemen on the field, and then there was a little confusion point on there. So Randy and Don, do you have any like comments or anything about that? Because if you want to expand on it at all.
no, I mean this is a great training example right here because there is that almost everybody does that sub on the defensive side, and that's where guys sometimes we get confused because all of a sudden we'll see somebody running backwards, and in a blink of an eye there's that next guy there, and you go, oh, that had to be number 7 because he was running back while number 6 is running over. That's not necessarily true. I mean, if you can snap your head quickly and see how many of, let's say, dark blue here, were back there before you throw that flag, that is, that's, the mechanic is to look forward, but sometimes you have to snap your head backwards, just take a peek at what's going on. Obviously at this time, this wasn't really even a flag situation. This was just, hey, we're taking a ball away, we're going the other direction. So this would be something you would wave off as a flag.
And Mike eventually did. He picked up the flag, and it was a turnover. But yeah, that's basically that clip right there. So let me get to my presentation. Okay,
Emmett, could you run it
Randy.
one more time, please?
absolutely.
Randy, or Emmett, Steve Perez here.
Yeah.
One of the things that is helpful to the trail official is you have 3 attackmen at all times. So if you keep your eyes above the restraining line to the 50, just count the number there. It's either going to be 2 or 3.
Right.
If that pole is going back, usually that makes it they have 2 middies, 3 attackmen. The pole's going back. He's not
Right.
going back because he's offsides. He's going back so they can bring the 3rd offensive middie on. And so if you expand your field of vision and focus between the restraining line and where that cone is, you have a better chance of making or of counting that 6th person and not the 7th person.
Right.
So start with 3, and then you're just subbing middies.
Yep.
Good point, Steve.
Hey, Steve, can I just jump in here for a second? I think too, actually, you and I had this conversation, I think at Edgewood. I think the other piece of this and the mechanic is let's not be so fast to get to where we think we need to be as the trail. If I can come up a little slower and I can get a better overall vision of that, maybe I don't cross the 50, or maybe I stand at the 50 until we're into a settled offense. It's easier to catch that on or off pole crossing across the 50. Also, hey, Emmett, could you say that part about how it's really difficult for us to catch that? Because I'd like to make that my ringtone.
It is super difficult because Mark, I think about like when I have helped out Coach Fahey at Concordia, like with fall ball, and he's like, just run the box for me. And the kids can do it themselves because they've just been trained, they've been playing for years, blah blah blah, right? But they just do it so fast and they do it so quickly, and it's just like everyone's in and out, and it's just like, what the hell is going on, right? So for you guys, when it's like, oh, you have to focus downfield to make sure that X, Y, and Z is okay, and now you're trailing to make sure that the right guys are subbing on. And look at that, Arrowhead 50. They didn't paint the 50, which I know it's not illegal for them not to do that. It just makes it even harder because when Mike and I were talking about the call, or like later on, he's like, I saw 7 over, and like rewatching the clip, I'm like, okay, maybe he got it mixed up because it's so hard to see the midfield line. Like it's a very hard call to make, and I don't fault him at all. It was just more of a conversation piece between Don, Randy, and I of like, hey, like we're talking about subbing through the midfield. So here's literally a perfect example. It happened yesterday. So props to you guys on all the stuff that you deal with because it's it's difficult for sure. I believe Tim, you wanted me to redo the clip for you?
Yeah, just run it one more time. That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want me to just run it all the way through, or do you want me to pause?
Just the way you did it was great.
Okay, I'll go back from the top. Okay. So again, we're just in regular, I believe 6-on-6 offense at this point. We're dark blue, Arrowhead white. Okay. Roll the clip. We just collapse on them. Pull carries over. Okay. So we have our poles up here. We have our trailer behind them. We always saw the LSM right here and our defenseman. If the LSM's above the play, he goes with it. If it's not, he subs right off. So these two know that they're subbing off right away. And our D-mid right here knows he's subbing off. Okay. So we're at this point, we're sending three into the box to sub. We cross over. We know we have the 3 attackmen on this backside, right? And the pole's carrying over, so that's our 4th. Okay, we get it through. I don't know if we get it through X. The huddle camera doesn't pick it up. Yeah, we just get collapsed on. Okay, 1,
Emmett,
2.
can I pause right there? Interrupt. Going back to Mark's point, if the official would have stopped at the 50, everything is in front of him. So don't be in a hurry right there. So he ran right by it. And if we pause, take a breath, we have our 3, and then we have 2. So we have 5 on the field right now, or 4 on the field right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we're not panicked. So we have to slow our brains down, and we can do that by pausing at the 50. Thank you.
Correct. Sorry, just grabbing a charger. So where was it? 1, 2, 3 attack. First Omid steps on. We have the pull. So we have 5 right now. Okay, this is still our 6. So we still have the 3 attack. First Omid, second Omid, Ellis, our defenseman, whatever. And he steps on because he can step on at this point because we have 31 was our LSM and our 30 is our defenseman right here. We only have 2 pulls back. So he could step on, sub at the A, or he could sub through the box. It doesn't matter at this point. As soon as the pull crosses over, he is good to go. And he does a full 360 to make sure, all right, I'm good to go. So now we have the 3 attack, 1, 2, 3, with the 3 minis. So we have 6 on side. But again, I think it was just hard seeing at the line. So that's just where the confusion was at that point. Any questions or anything, gentlemen? Okay. All right, Don, Randy, I got like one more thing. Tried to kind of draft this up, so it's not going to be perfect. So just bear with me. But I believe I can work this to the best of my magic. All right, let's say so right now we have I just drew kind of like a mini field. Red lines, I wanted the 50 to stick out so everyone could see, and then we have our subbing box right here. So we have our 3 attackmen down low. Let's just say the 2 minis. Let's say ball is right here at the right. So
we're not seeing what you're doing.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let's see if I can share with this. Share.
Now we see it.
Okay, I apologize. All right, so back from the top, the red line represents the 50, and then the red 2 dashes represent where we are with the summing box. We got 3 attackmen. We got 2 midfielders on for this point. We're just going to say that they're on side. I'm just going to circle this guy with my cursor. We'll say ball is right here. Okay. So there's multiple ways to kind of sub through the midfield. We could do it where like just a regular old sub, and I'm going to carry these guys. I know it's not the best way to do it. I just don't have an active way to do it. This defenseman can run off. Okay. And this midi can just sub right on. Okay. So that's just a basic, easy sub pattern right there. Now we could try some other ones where this midi is in the box waiting to sub on. Okay, and let's say we have, I'm going to see if I can, I can make a copy of someone quick. Okay, so I'm going to label this guy. Let's see if I can label him in like orange. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to see. Well, this orange guy, we want him to sub off. Okay, again, balls at the right. So we can have this defenseman step off. He could step off into the box. This midfielder can go to the logo. We just say logo, like meaning middle of the field. And then this guy can run over. And then this guy can sub on for him. Okay. And then what they have to do for this defenseman to release, this defenseman cannot just step on. He has to wait for this midfielder to get all the way off. Sorry, excuse my all the way off to here. And then this defenseman can step back on. And then he can go to his whatever designated spot. The one last one I wanted to share with you while subbing is, let's say I'm gonna put this midfielder back out here. This will be our subbing midfielder right here. Let's say we have a defenseman right here, and we want to sub this midfielder off. Okay, we can have this midi go down here. This defenseman step off fully. He has to be fully off the field. As soon as this midi crosses over half, he can step on. The midfielder can step on to be on side with the 6. And again, this defenseman has to wait for this midfielder to come all the way off. And then this defenseman can step back on. Okay. So those are kind of our three ways of subbing. Don, I can't remember what you called this sub package, but we just
Is
call
that
it
like that's kind of like the wheel? You're just doing it reverse, right?
right, like
That last one.
Yeah, like the wheel that you could do a reverse where we could kind of try to trick up their defense, and instead of like again, I'll do it one more time because it's a little bit hard to pick up. It's like sometimes a little hard to pick up on. So this midi is trying to sub off the one in orange. This defenseman can step off, and this midi can go to the bottom of the box, like for the subbing box, I should say. He can step over the midfield line, and then he can come on, and that would be our six at that point. But again, for this defenseman to step back on legally, he has to wait. We're just assuming we have two defensemen and one goalie back at this point. For him to step on legally, that midi has to come all the way off, and then the defenseman can step back on. So again, we got that 3 midfielders, 3 attacks. So we got that 6 on side on the attacking side. So I think Don, Randy, I think those are really the biggest 3 ways that we sub.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing one, but
No, I mean, this is great, Emmett. I really appreciate it too, because it is, and like you said, as an official, there's so much stuff going on. And you kind of, and I see names on here who have been doing it a long time. We kind of know how teams are going to do their sub packages, and it's easy to, you kind of know, like you say, you just kind of know. Steve had an excellent point. And again, guys, any clips that we're going to show for the rest of the year are not meant to do anything other than show, hey, this is what we should be looking at and talking about. Stopping at the 50, there, what is it? Lead hard, trail light, trail easy. And we really should be doing it that way. Steve, you and I and Max had the same thing. In fact, we even had this conversation in our pregame before our game yesterday. How are we going to do this to make sure we got it right? As officials, you should be talking about this in pregame. Here's where I'm going to be. Here's what I'm going to be looking for. Or say, hey, here's what I want. Here's where I want you to be, and here's what I want you looking for. Offsides it's tough to get sometimes, because especially if you're the far side official, you're looking through and there's a bunch of players in the boxes. Or in the box, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know. Take your time. Mr. Perez had the best quote. There's no time limit on offsides. So just take your time, get it right, and you move along. Don?
No, that all sounds good to me. I don't have anything to add.
One word of warning, guys, is a lot of times if a defense has a really athletic long stick midi and he comes over, you'll hear the parents, one of the few things they know is midi back. And so they could have 4 in the attack area. We have our three attackers. You have a early sub that is an offensive midi, and now the pole goes over, and they might not have a midi back, but that's still only 5. So count slow. Don't be in a hurry, because you can always take the ball away from them. But don't be fooled by midi back.
Or helmet.
Back.
To hear that in a college game is still impressive.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Emmett while he's here?
Hey, this is Tim. I just have an offsides question. So is there, I think I know the answer, but is there anything weird on offsides when the goalie brings the ball across midfield? I mean, they just have to keep 4 back and you can't have more than 6 forward. There's no difference than a regular field player at that point, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, Tim, though, when you see that goalie starting to run towards the midline, there's a very, very high likelihood that you're going to have an offsides. I would start counting immediately, figure out where everybody is, because especially in high school, when that goalie decides that he wants to bust a move, there's a really, really high likelihood that there's going to be an offsides.
Yeah, the other thing I'd add to that is if it is offsides and you got to blow it in, the goalie still gets the 5 seconds to get back.
Right.
It's really easy to try and quick whistle that.
Yeah, I made that error last year, and thank God the other team didn't score. Because it had been bad for me to have to take it off the board because I didn't give the goalie 5 seconds. But as Mark was saying, when you see that goalie bust a move, the first thing I do is I immediately look backwards. Do I have 4? I'm just looking. Do I have 4? Because as soon as if there's only 3 left when he steps over, now you just have offsides, right? So it's a one time where it's not bad to look backwards, because it's easier to count 3 to 4 than it is 6 to 7, right? So use what's best for you to make sure you get that call.
Anyone with anything else for Emmett before we let him go? No? All right. All right. Thanks, Emmett. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Emmett.
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
No problem. Thank you so very much.
And then if anyone has any other topics for any that they'd like to see coaches talk about, we can certainly ask Emmett to reach out to his fellow coaches or have him back on, I'm sure. So
Absolutely. Don, just boot me out of the meeting because if I end it, it ends it for everyone.
okay, let me reclaim host here.
Oh, there we go. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right,
All right.
thanks, Emmett.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Well, no, not good night, everybody. Does anybody have any questions from this week? I actually have a few topics that came up just in my games and from what I heard about. So let's see. Randy and I had a game where one of the 4 banks of lights wasn't working for the second half. Actually happened to be in Emmett's game earlier this week at Tosa West. It was kind of hard to see, but we were still able to play. So everybody just keep safety in mind if you have any situation like that. Like the kids couldn't pick up ground balls, even a little worse than normal
I say they couldn't anyway. So
for the game. Yeah. But if it gets to the point where you can't see and it's a safety issue, definitely talk about that as a crew if you need to address it.
in fact, Tosa did tell me they're going to move all their games up now, for their
Oh,
home
that's good.
games for the rest of the season, just because of that particular bank of lights.
Okay. Yeah, I had asked the coach. I said, "The coach, what's going on with the lights? Do they turn on their own? Whatever." He's like, "I don't know. I don't think they work because of budget." And I was like, "All right." So he didn't really care a whole lot. So, talk to your crew if it is an issue with that or any other safety issue on the field. Another thing
Don,
that
as
came
a
up.
reminder,
Yep.
as a reminder by rule, once the game starts, the lighting and all of that becomes the referee's decision or the game official's decision, not the coach's.
Right. Yes. If we wanted to pause the game or suspend
Yep.
the game, yes.
Yeah, it's up to us. We can decide it, not the coach. We don't. If the coach wants to keep playing and the officials say no, we have the authority to suspend the game. Just as a reminder, by rule.
Not for nothing. When you have a potential visibility issue, I would always talk to the goalies. Can you see the ball? Right. That's kind of my tell. If we have a visibility issue, normally it's because of the weather or whatever, right? But can you see the ball? And usually that's your litmus test right there.
Yep. Great points, guys. All right. The next thing that I heard about, I heard that a newer official did an equipment check on a player in a varsity game, and his gloves had holes in them, but they weren't cut. They were just holy, which I know all of us who have been doing this a while have seen kids with gloves where the palms are worn out. And he gave the kid a penalty since the hole in his glove was larger than a quarter. So, Steve, I don't know if you want to address how we are handling that. I know in the past, it's something we didn't call, but if you want to discuss that.
Right. I think that by rule, the players may not alter their gloves by cutting the palms out or doing anything beyond the way that they were manufactured. A glove that is worn through, there's no size designation about like it's larger than a quarter, therefore that's not part of the rule book. You may suggest that the player tape it if you notice it before the game. You could also, whatever if it happens during the game, that is something that happens during the game, so that is legal. If a player, if they are worn out to the point where there's nothing there, then they can be illegal. And then you could penalize them for being illegal. But I've penalized a player for it because he wanted to make it an issue. So I try to talk to him and I try to talk to the coaches. And it's usually, if we look for it, I'm sure we'll find something. But let's try to talk through it first. Other opinions?
Yeah, if I've run into guys who have decent size holes that, I mean, they're worn, but they're decent size, and I've just told them to tape them up. Like, I'm not flagging them for it, but I'm like, hey, get some tape on that. And I'm not even necessarily double checking. Most times they come and say, is this okay? And I say, yeah, but like, I'm not like trying to stick them for it.
All right. All right. Anyone else on that topic? No. All right. The next thing I had, at a youth game yesterday, I had a coach say a few things towards his team that I didn't really like, both as a parent and as a former coach. And since I know the high school coach, whose dad happens to be on this call decently well, I shot him a text, said, hey, can you give me a call? I let him know what was said. So if you guys have hear stuff, if you have relationships like that, I would say definitely reach out to the high school coaches, because what I heard was stuff that the players may not want to play lacrosse in the future, and it wasn't growing the game, in my opinion. So I just wanted to bring that to, like, I don't think there's any issue with us reaching out to program coaches in that manner. It's not an issue where like it had to be reported to the club or WLF, but just for the culture of, I think what a lot of high school coaches are doing and what they want, it wasn't necessarily appropriate.
He said that to his team or about the other team? Either way,
He said it to his own. He said it to his own team.
Wow.
After they'd given up a couple goals,
Wow.
yelled some stuff out to the field. That wasn't appropriate, and it wasn't flaggable, but it wasn't building the game or promoting lacrosse. Which I know we all have seen JV numbers down this year, so we definitely want to keep as many kids interested in lacrosse as possible, especially the ones doing the youth and who are going to be playing for the next 10 years or whatever. So and then the last one I had, and I couldn't find this in the rule book, so I don't know if Steve or anyone else. I had in a game Monday, I was working with Mitch Trapp. Defender is chasing the attackman. The attackman flips him at the crease. Well, the defender decided not to follow the attackman, and he ran straight into the goal and displaced the goal. And it wasn't just like an inch or two, like he moved it a good like 8 inches. Which I don't know exactly how he did that, but I let the play continue because the offense had the ball around the crease and had a legitimate scoring opportunity. Shot, goalie stopped it. I just killed it, reset the goal. So I think I did that right, but I didn't know if that's a technical foul on the defense at all, Steve, or if you can
No.
clarify that.
No, the goal, the plane of the goal stays the same as it was, or the plane of the goal is still the edge of the line that marks the goal mouth. So if the goal is displaced, you do not have to stop play immediately. If a goal is imminent, you can continue play, and then you just use the imaginary front plane of where the goal was to be the goal.
Okay.
Don, did you feel it was an intentional act?
Oh no, the kid just ran into it because I don't
Okay.
think he knew where he was running.
Because I know there is that weird example in the rule book where like a person's like a fast break and the goalie pulls the goal forward, like to put it in
Right.
a triangle. I thought maybe if it was like an intentional act, you could say it was something to that effect, but
Right. Yeah, no, it wasn't intentional in that regard. But right, that would be an unsportsmanlike conduct
Yeah, I had the wind
if it
move
was
it,
intentional.
and it was a heavy goal at Homestead. I think it was the wind moved the goal like a foot, and yeah, waited till there wasn't a threat and got it moved back. But it was one of those. Oh shoot, what do I do?
One thing that came up yesterday in our game that we could talk about a little bit is you do not have to throw a flag to indicate a foul. If you have simultaneous fouls, you do not have to have a flag for both fouls. You can have a single flag and then report the fouls to the table as two individual fouls. So just, you don't have to signal everything. You can keep track in your head.
Of course, then if you have coaches yelling at you that there's only one flag,
Oh, we
you
did.
might want to have a second one,
But-
right?
Oh yeah, there was
Yeah, I
there
mean-
was yelling.
There was yelling.
Oh,
we
this is
got
in
it
the-
right.
This is in your college game yesterday, I take it?
Yeah, but it also happened in my high school game.
Oh, okay.
Where I had a push followed by an unsportsmanlike conduct, one on each team, and because of the proximity of the players, I did not throw the second flag because I wanted to separate the players or get closer to the players. And so there wasn't a second flag, but in my head, I know what I had. But no one said it was like, oh, you didn't throw a flag, therefore it can't be a foul. They were just wondering why I didn't throw a flag. So, and the same thing again yesterday with the push and the slash.
Yeah, because you were keeping Zorro away from the other guy. 'Cause
Right.
We all saw what was going on. So
My partners kept their flags in their pocket. No help from them.
I was laughing too hard.
Randy already called a slash, so that was his quota for the year.
Exactly.
So Perez, in that instance, would throwing the second flag helped you as a crew though?
I don't think so.
They still would have
Because
been
my
yelling.
partners knew that, like, I communicated to my partners, especially to both partners, that we were going to have multiple fouls. And so there wasn't like, I saw what happened. I was tracking what happened, keeping an eye on my players because I didn't want to reach for my flag because I didn't feel the need to. And my players were there. And then once they were separated, then we started with our crew communication. And so, and I made sure that the reporting official, like the first thing out of my mouth is, we have fouls on both teams. And so now the coaches are like, oh, okay, we're good. I understand now. So that's the way I handled it.
Yeah, and that's important to communicate that to the table too. It's like we
Yep.
had two fouls, two different teams, two different players, and they were simultaneous, so the first 30 seconds was locked in on it too.
Mhm.
So that's a take your time, report everything slowly and clearly and then make sure the field is set. And make sure the
And then one of
goalie
the-
knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that was helpful that Max did was he stayed at the table in case the coaches had questions. Like he was in that area. It wasn't a situation where I report the fouls and then turn around and walk away. It was like make sure everybody knows what's going on, because it was a confusing situation, and we were in no hurry to restart at that point.
Anyone else have anything? Any questions? Weird situations?
I have one. Yesterday, doing a game, Kimberly versus it was Oconomowoc, and threw a flag. Partner threw a flag for a 2-minute illegal body check to the head, and after it was a dead ball, he then called a conduct foul on Oconomowoc. So Kimberly caused the foul, stopped the play, had a dead ball foul. We reported to the table, and since Oconomowoc created the last foul, Kimberly got the ball. Is that correct? I know on simultaneous fouls, whoever has more penalty minutes, the other team gets the ball. But since there was a live ball foul, then a dead ball technical foul, since the technical foul was committed last, Kimberly got the ball. Did we do that right or wrong?
You did it right.
First time I've ever been able to tell Roger Horbrick, hey, we get it right. But he was actually telling me that, hey, we don't get the ball. They should get the ball because of penalty minutes. And I said, but it wasn't a simultaneous foul. So I just
Right.
wanted to make sure. And he wanted me to report back to him. So I will.
Scott, one of the
Yes.
things, if you have that situation where it is a simultaneous foul, but one team only commits technical fouls, or the non-offending team only commits technical fouls, you're going to ignore that technical foul.
Correct.
So it's not a matter of like penalty minutes at that, or like
No,
longest
yeah, I get
time.
you. Yeah,
So
but
be
he
aware
said-
of that one.
He said back in the day, he was told whoever had the most penalty minutes would if it's 2 fouls, but he forgot the simultaneous part, that it wasn't simultaneous, that the team that had the most penalties lost the ball, even if they committed the last penalty. So
Yeah,
So
but
he was-
Roger was playing when they used dinosaur poop for balls too. So
well, that's true. So, but he just wanted to make sure that we did it right, because he didn't think we did, and it actually benefited him. So usually he wouldn't say something. He's like, I wouldn't say this, but I think you guys did it wrong. And I said, well, I don't think we did. So well, I told him I would ask tonight and report back to him. So I appreciate it.
So those who are still on the call, do you guys find these calls advantageous to talk through the season?
Yeah, I find them useful.
Yes, very much so.
Helps us out.
Absolutely.
Because we all live the
As
game.
well, yeah.
Right? So, Don, do we have a topic for 2 weeks out yet?
We do not have one for 2 weeks out. We likely have one for 3 weeks out.
Okay.
So if anyone has something specific, I know I think Mike Hoffman emailed and said possibly one on mechanics, although I know he's traveling on Sunday nights, so I don't think he was offering to do it. Otherwise we could do crease play. If anyone wants to see something, from a coach, we can go that route. I think in 3 weeks, Scott Saunders has volunteered, likely to talk about contact, the different types of contact, and all that comes with that. But if anybody has anything for a couple weeks out, shoot it out. Otherwise, I'm sure between myself and Steve and the other board members, we can come up with an idea. Well, we
Even if
want to hear from other guys too, because
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
not everybody wants to hear
Hey,
Steve talk,
hey,
and
Don,
Steve
hey,
doesn't want to
Don,
talk all the time.
if you guys could put together something on crease play, I mean, crease play is
Yeah.
the hardest thing we do. Right. And I don't think we can have enough conversations around that.
Yeah,
That
if no one
said,
else
I'm
has
not
anything, we can-
volunteering for shit, so I'm just jumping in front of that.
No, we can definitely do crease play.
It is, guys. It is the hardest thing for an official to do because so much stuff is going on. And maybe let's do it. Let's use crease play. Steve, I know you got some stuff on that. We can talk about it 2 weeks out from now because we're gonna get
Crease play and also kind of lead positioning.
yeah.
So absolutely. Woohoo.
Because that'll be literally on the end run to the end of the season. So we definitely want to get that stuff right.
Yeah, I mean, if Matty P's missing the crease play in the semifinal games, we should probably get it right too, right?
Matty P, what a joker, yeah. All right.
Anything else?
I'm tapping out.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, excellent. Thanks, guys.
Yep, have a good night.